Come on in. I'm your host, Zach Lyotis, and in today's podcast, we are speaking about people-pleasing traps that are stealing your destiny. And this is why saying yes to everyone else may be causing you to say no to the woman God created you to be or to become. Now, I want to have an honest conversation with you today. This topic is a heavy topic. And I want to have a conversation that's not polished and that's not perfect, but it's real. Because when we get real, that's when things shift. And if you're anything like the woman I work with and my previous self, man, there's probably been a season in your life where you've looked back and you thought, how did I end up here? I mean, sometimes I say that to myself, wondering, how did I become so exhausted? How did I become disconnected from myself? How did I lose my voice? How did I spend years making everyone else happy while secretly feeling unfulfilled within myself? And perhaps the biggest question, how did I drift away from who I truly am? And that's the question as I take a deep sigh of where I brought myself. Because people pleasing was the number one disease I held on to. And if any part of that resonated with you, then today's conversation is for you. Because what if I told you that one of your greatest threats to your destiny isn't failure? It's not failure. It's actually people pleasing, believe it or not. Not because you're weak and not because you're broken, but because many women have been conditioned from a very young age, me included, to believe that our value comes from feeling or being needed, being liked, being approved of or accepted, and to be chosen or to be picked. I think of the baseball diamond when we're in grade school and your friends start picking you and maybe you're the last person to become picked. And somewhere along the way, you stop choosing yourself. I had to confess something right now with you. So I'm opening up my heart to get real with you because this is the only way I know to be. I can't be a fluff, and I definitely don't wear masks, and I definitely speak my truth. For years, I've lived in the shadow side of what I call the archetype of a prostitute. Now, before anyone gets uncomfortable, I just want you to understand that I'm not speaking about the literal definition of a prostitute. I'm talking about the energetic patterns, because this is what we thrive on, is the energetic frequency. The place where we sell pieces of ourselves for approval. Now, does that sound familiar to you? I know it sounds familiar to me, and this is why I'm speaking it to you. Where we trade our truth for acceptance, where we compromise our values because we're afraid of rejection. Started to learn how to love rejection, to be honest with you, because that was God's redirection. Where we give away our power to feel loved. When you have love inside yourself, you are empowering you and you don't need to give away your power. And when I first learned about this archetype, I felt exposed. I felt naked. I felt like I could no longer hide. And this is why I'm bringing it up to you, because I want you to be in that place. And I saw myself everywhere. I saw every moment I abandoned myself. Every time I said yes when I wanted to say no. Every time I ignored my intuition to make another person feel comfortable. And every time I discounted my worth because, well, we'll get into that a little later. So every time I allowed someone else's opinion to become more important than my own. Now, does that sound familiar? See, I wasn't selling my body. I was selling my truth. I was selling out who I was in the eyes of the divine. And many women are doing the exact same thing, especially the women I speak to, the women I work with. And this is something that we get cleared out of the way instantly. Because most people think people pleasing is kindness, and truly it's not. Kindness comes from love. Kindness comes from truth. Kindness this day is a word thrown around for people to feel comfortable. And kindness is not always about comfort. It's about going deep inside yourself. And I'll tell you, people pleasing comes from fear. Fear of disappointing someone, fear of rejection, fear of conflict, fear of not being enough or feeling like you're enough, fear of not being loved or expressing love. Well, you're mostly expressing love, but feeling love from someone else. And fear is a terrible leader to stand up to, because fear will have you abandon yourself over and over again. People pleasing sound familiar to you? Let's get down to what we say in order for us to step more comfortable when we're people pleasing. It's okay. No worries. Whatever you want. I'm fine. Meanwhile, you're exhausted. You're resentful. You're overwhelmed. And I have to take a deep breath saying that, because that's how I felt. And I know it's how other women feel, because the same ripple that goes out comes back. And quietly, we're wondering why no one seems to appreciate anything you do or what I used to do. Now, the cost of people pleasing is high. It's dangerous. And because the cost isn't immediately, it happens slowly. I call people pleasing the slow burning death of your soul, basically. One compromise at a time, one swallowed truth at a time, and one ignored intuition, feeling that God is putting inside of us, ignoring that altogether, until one day you wake up and realize you're living life you didn't actually choose. You become who everyone else needed you to be, rather than being who you are, because you've lost sight of who God created you to be. I'm going to say that again. You became who everyone needed you to be because you lost sight of who God created you to be. Let that sink in for a second. I'm telling you this because I had to let it sink in for me too. And that's where many women over 45 find themselves today. Not because they failed, not because they've spent decades carrying everyone else, or is it but because they've spent decades carrying everyone else? Let's see if any of this feels familiar. Staying in relationships long after they've expired. There's a few I've been in. Saying yes to family and friends when you want to say no. No is my new liberation. I just want to get you there, and this is why I'm saying this to you. But feeling guilty for not being busy or being busy. Now, feeling guilty for charging for your gifts. Feeling guilty for putting yourself first. Now, constantly asking others what they think before making your own decisions. I was that person. Always asking others, what do you think? 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 Because I'm waiting for permission and validation. I'm waiting to be picked. I'm waiting for someone to tell me, honey, you are enough. And here's the hard truth. Nobody could give you what you're refusing to give yourself. Oh, it is really a hard truth to swallow. And I've been through this hard truth. And when I boiled myself into it, yes, I had snot running, tears running. I was angry. I'd go into the fields and just scream mercy. So I want to talk to the coaches, the healers, the creatives, the spiritual entrepreneurs, the woman with a calling, the woman with gifts, the women who know they were born for more. This is the woman that I had to speak to inside of myself. I see this all the time, and like I said, I've lived it myself at the beginning of my career working for God. Yes, God is my boss. He's the greatest boss in the world. But what had happened when I'm people-pleasing in my business, I start undercharging, overgiving, over-delivering, feeling guilty asking for money, giving away expertise for free, discounting services, talking yourself out of your worth. And the justification sounds so godly and spiritual. God will provide. God will provide. Oh, and yes, God will provide. But sometimes God is providing through the gifts he gives you. And this was my aha moment. I'm going to tell you my story right now. And if you're constantly refusing to receive, you're rejecting one of the greatest ways provision arrives. I know this because I lived it, and I've lived it for many years, listening to the external rather than what was happening in my heart. Just want to breathe through this. Breathe with me through this, because if you're there, you understand. If you're going to start your entrepreneurship, you will understand. But when you overcome it, you understand what it felt like inside of your body. Now, there was a season where I was struggling, really struggling financially. I was working hard, I was serving people, and I was giving everything away, yet barely receiving anything. And I remember bringing it to God, and what I felt in my spirit stopped me. The message was simple. It was so simple. I'm sending people to you, God says, and you're not asking for money. Now, if the truth hits you in the face, that was my truth. Ouch. I didn't like hearing that, just like you may not want to hear the truth because the truth hurts, but yet it will set you free. Because suddenly all of my identity issues and my false beliefs and my story surfaced. Who am I to charge? What if they say no? What if they think I'm greedy? What if they leave? What if? We get stuck in that what if. But eventually, I obeyed what God asked me, and I went back and had the conversation with women I spent hours with, giving free information, free wisdom, free healing, day in and day out, and asked them to be compensated. I got out of my comfort zone and said, honey, pay me. And it's not easy to get there because a lot of things come up. And you know what happened? They happily paid me, these women, but I had to go through a lot of my emotional stuff. Some thanked me. A few even took me out for dinner. And I realized something even deeper within myself. The obstacle wasn't them. It was me. We create this resistance within ourselves. We create the blocks ahead of us. We create the stories in our mind. We create the blocks of receiving in our heart. We create difficulty on the path. And I say we because I was there. Now I want to get into some scripture, of course. This is where Galatians 1:10 hits differently. And now, I say this to myself all the time. Am I now trying to win the approval of human beings or of God? Am I trying to win the approval of human beings or God? And I had to breathe through that to tell you that again. Because that's the question you need to ponder on. Whose approval are you chasing? Is it God's or is it people's? Because you can't simultaneously be led by your calling and controlled by people's opinions. That just doesn't, it's like water and oil. Because at some point you have to choose. And choosing isn't always comfortable. And I could tell you this, you're not going to find it uncomfortable. You're going to have to get uncomfortable within yourself. And what changed my life wasn't becoming fearless, because that's a true myth, even though we feel fearless. The goal isn't to eliminate fear. The goal is to stop letting fear drive the plane. Or you might want to say the car. The gift hidden within the prostitute archetype is learning integrity. Because where there's a shadow side, there is a light side. So the archetype of a prostitute has a lot of learning to do. First and foremost, self-respect. The most important one, discernment and boundaries. To stand in your truth and to trust yourself and to trust God. Even when your knees are shaking and even when your voice is trembling and even when people don't understand. I've been through many scenarios where I literally feel like someone is taking me out of my knees. Someone is robbing my voice. And guess what? It just happens. And what had happened to me at one point, I had to laugh. When I realized this aha moment while I was working, that not everyone liked Jesus. And I truly say that to myself when I could feel people's energies around me and I think, well, not everyone liked Jesus. Now think about that for a second. The most loving human being to ever walk the earth. I mean, he healed, he developed, he picked the unchosen and made them chosen. And still people criticized him, rejected him, misunderstood him, talked about him, judged him. So why do you think everyone should like you or me? Why do we exhaust ourselves trying to accomplish something Jesus himself never accomplished? Jesus just took it as a pro. You don't like me, I walk away. Because you don't need universal approval. You need alignment. And this is where real transformation happens. Now, I'm going to give you another verse here. Romans 12:2 reminds us not to be conformed to the patterns of this world, but to be transformed by the renewal of our minds. This is really how we step into our true identity. And what is one of the biggest patterns of the world, really? Seeking a validation outside ourselves, social media validation, how many likes, how many views, did people like it, did they leave a comment? Think of all that validation you are seeking. The best thing I'm doing right now is taking myself off of social media and having a break to connect with God. Now we're looking also for relationship validation and business validation and family validation and friend validation and job validation. See what I'm saying? The world says, look outward. God says, look within. The world says, become who they want you to be. God says, become who I created you to be. That's the transformation. That's the freedom. I feel like I need to take a deep breath there. Because when you step into how God created you, only glory could come out of it. Now, this is something, this next piece of scripture I'm going to give you is power. Okay? Psalm 82:6 says, you are God's, you are all sons of the Most High. You are God's, you are all sons of the Most High. Man, I just love scripture. It's like these chest pounding moments, right? So now before anyone gets nervous about that scripture, let me tell you what it reminds me of. It reminds me of authority, not ego. Authority. Authority is way different than ego. You were created by the Creator. You carry divine intelligence, divine wisdom, divine guidance. You have access to insight most people ignore. And why do I say that? Because many women spend decades acting powerless. Because you've given your power away rather than attaining your power within you. And yet many women spend decades acting powerless, asking everyone else what they should do, while the answer has already been whispering inside their heart and soul. The question that changed everything for me. So I want to leave you with this one question. The question that changed my life, especially when I started healing through people pleasing virus. It's a virus. It's a virus. Got to get rid of the virus. What void are you trying to fill externally? What void are you trying to fill externally? Sit with that. Don't rush it. Write it down. Allow it to bring up whatever you need to hear and feel. Because what are you seeking for others that you're unwilling to give yourself? This is where the real healing begins. Is it love? Is it respect? Is it worthiness? Is it validation? Is it permission? Is it approval? Is it safety? Is it finances? Is it adventure? Because whatever the answer is, that's where the healing begins. See what I'm saying? If you're looking for external validation, what are you missing inside of yourself? I remember those days. Now I live happily in my own power. So, my beautiful sister, you weren't created to shrink. You were not created to perform. You're not created to earn your worth. You're not created to trade your truth for acceptance. You were created to stand in your God-given identity, to trust your inner knowing, to honor your gifts, and to value your voice. And this feels so refreshing as I'm saying this to you. Again, I've been there. I get it. We need to stop apologizing for who God created us to be. The world doesn't need another version of everyone else because you're not comfortable with being you. But the real thing is that the world needs the truth of you. And this is where I want to invite you. If today's episode hit home, I've created something special for you. It's called the People Pleasing to Purpose Workbook. And it's a self-trust and boundary reset for women over 45. Because this is when that massive transition really and truly does happen in our life. So in this workbook, we're going to discover what is the hidden cost of people pleasing, the approval addiction assessment, the 7 areas you're giving away your power. And girlfriend, I am telling you to take it back without apology. Boundaries building exercises, self-worth reflection questions, the destiny assignment audit, a personal reinvention plan, and a God-led self-trust declaration. This is an opportunity to reconnect with the woman underneath the performance. The woman that has been hiding underneath the roles. The woman underneath the need to please everyone else. You can download it for free through the link below, just in the show notes. So take an afternoon, make a cup of tea, coffee, juice, a smoothie. I mean, whatever you want. Whatever turns you on, girlfriend. Sit with God. Sit with God. Let him stir something wild inside of you and allow yourself the gift of finally coming home to yourself. Because it feels so liberating. It feels so free. It feels so in tune, and it feels so connecting. Because your destiny is too important to keep giving it away. And this is something that I truly had to understand for myself. So get the workbook below. Let's connect. Heal through this, work through this, get empowered through this. and really understand that underneath all this worldly stuff, God has some incredible things to show you of the truth of who you are. Until next time, have yourself a great day. Oh, and by the way, subscribe to the channel and share this with one of your sisters, neighbors, or girlfriends. Bye for now.